The salt air hung thick over the firing range as Lieutenant Sarah Chen gripped the M4 rifle, her knuckles white against the black metal. Commander Jake Reeves stood behind her, arms crossed, his weathered face carved into a perpetual scowl. At 6:15 a.m., the California sun was just beginning to burn through the coastal fog, casting long shadows across the training facility where she'd spent the last 6 months trying to prove she belonged. "That's your grip?" Reeves said, his voice dripping with disdain. "My grandmother holds a garden hose better than that." The other candidates, all men, shifted uncomfortably. Sarah felt their eyes on her back, some sympathetic, others waiting for her to fail. She'd heard the whispers in the barracks, seen the betting pool on how long she'd last. 3 women had attempted SEAL training before her. None had made it past Hell Week. She adjusted her stance, but her hands trembled slightly. Not from fear, from exhaustion. They'd been running drills since 2:30 a.m., and her body screamed for rest. Reeves had pushed her harder than anyone else, always watching, always waiting for her to break. "You know what?" Reeves continued, walking closer until she could smell the coffee on his breath. "I've trained men for 20 years. The rifle doesn't care about your feelings or your determination. It only cares about one thing. Can you hit the target when someone's shooting back?" Sarah's jaw tightened. She'd grown up in rural Montana, learning to hunt with her father before cancer took him at age 12. She'd held rifles since she was 8 years old, had outshot boys twice her size at county competitions. But here, none of that mattered. Here, she was just the woman who didn't belong. "Sir, permission to prove you wrong," she said quietly. Reeves laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. "You've got 30 seconds. 6 targets, various distances. Miss one, and you're scrubbing toilets for a month." He paused, then added with a smirk, "Hit them all, and I'll personally apologize in front of the entire unit." The range went silent. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Sarah closed her eyes for just a moment, remembering her father's words. "Don't shoot with your hands, sweetheart. Shoot with your heart." She thought of every drill sergeant who'd dismissed her, every superior who'd suggested she'd be better in logistics, every man who'd looked through her instead of at her. She opened her eyes, and something shifted. The trembling stopped. "Time starts now," Reeves barked. The first target popped up at 50 yards. Sarah squeezed the trigger. One clean shot, center mass. The metallic ping echoed across the range. Second target, 75 yards, partially obscured. Another shot, another hit. Her breathing fell into a rhythm, her body moving with mechanical precision. Third target, fourth, fifth. The 6th target appeared at an impossible angle, 150 yards through a narrow gap between 2 barriers. It would require compensating for wind drift and elevation simultaneously. She heard someone mutter, "No way!" Sarah didn't hesitate. She adjusted her grip, not to what they'd taught her in training, but to what her father had shown her all those years ago. A grip that felt wrong to everyone watching, but was perfectly right for her. She exhaled slowly and fired. The sound of metal on metal rang out like a church bell. Perfect hits. All 6. The silence that followed was deafening. Sarah lowered the rifle, her heart pounding, and turned to face Reeves. His face had gone pale, his mouth slightly open. The other candidates stared in disbelief. "Sir," she said calmly, "I believe you owe me an apology." But something unexpected happened. Reeves didn't look angry or humiliated. Instead, his eyes softened with something that looked almost like respect. He stepped forward, and for a moment she thought he might refuse. Then he did something that shocked everyone. He extended his hand. "Lieutenant Chen," he said, his voice no longer mocking but measured and genuine. "I was wrong. Not just about your grip, about you." He glanced at the other candidates. "I've been testing you differently than the others because I needed to know if you'd crack under pressure. In the field, our enemies won't go easy on you because of your gender. They'll come at you harder, meaner, looking for weakness." Sarah took his hand, her grip firm. "But you just proved something," Reeves continued. "You don't shoot like us because you're not us. And maybe that's exactly what this unit needs. Someone who sees the shot differently, who doesn't follow the manual when instinct says otherwise." He raised his voice so everyone could hear. Chen just outshot every one of you with a grip I'd normally fail a candidate for. Anyone want to tell me what that means? One of the candidates, a square-jawed Texan named Rodriguez, spoke up. Means we've been too focused on doing it the right way instead of the effective way, sir. Reeves nodded. Adapt or die, gentlemen. Chen just taught you that lesson. He turned back to Sarah. Welcome to the team, Lieutenant. The real training starts tomorrow at 0400. As the unit dispersed, Sarah stood alone on the range, watching the fog finally lift. She'd hit every target, but she'd won something far more valuable, the respect she'd fought so hard to earn. Her father would have been proud. And somewhere in her chest, she felt the weight she'd been carrying finally begin to lift, shot by shot, until only strength remained.